second segment of our lessons on the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the power of God. The power of God. Now, in this second series, we're going to look at the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the power of God. Demonstrates to us the power that when he came as the power of God, he was announced with power. And when he came with that power, remember the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the power of God. Of course, being the power of God, what do you expect? He has to demonstrate. He has to show us that he is the power of God. Let's take the first demonstration that he did. He showed us that he is the power of God. Let's look at Matthew chapter 27. I read verse 51. Matthew chapter 57. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation. And later on he said, for I am determined to know him, that I should know him and the power of his resurrection. Look at the power of his resurrection. Of course, he himself resurrected. Remember what he did? He resurrected Lazarus. That is the power over death. Demonstrating to us the power. The first one, demonstrating power over death. Demonstrating power over the grave. If there is anything that man fears, is death and grave. But he came to show that he is the power of God. He has to demonstrate power over death and over the grave. Let's look at what happened. Let's look at what happened. And the graves, I'm reading Matthew 27, verse 52. And the graves were opened, and many dead bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the city and appeared unto many. And now, when the centurion and they that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquakes and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly this was the Son of God. Declared to be the Son of God with power. And then when he has come, he came, when he manifested, he came and declared that power. Here we see that he had power over death. Those saints, when he was crucified and he died, those saints, when he resurrected, the saints that were resurrected, the saints, that means those who believed in him, those who were living righteously, they also got up. You see what they got up? They got up and appeared to many. Let me read it again. And the graves were opened, and many dead bodies of the saints which were slain, and many came out of the grave after his resurrection and went to the holy city and appeared unto many. They appeared unto many. And so you saw his power over death and over the grave. He demonstrated his power over death and over the grave apart from himself. Let's look apart from the one he did to Lazarus. Remember, Lazarus died and stayed for how many days? 3 good days, 4 good days in the grave. And he went and called Lazarus out of the grave. Look at what happened here. So, first one, his power over death and over the grave. Look at his power over nature. Look at his power over nature. Matthew chapter 4, I read verse 37. Matthew chapter 4, verse 37. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was not full, so that it was now full. And it was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they wake him up, and said unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he rose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was great calm. And he said unto them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? He demonstrated his power over the wind and the sea. And when he commanded, they had to obey. Power over nature. Power over nature. We are going, it's a catalog of them that we are going to see. He demonstrated power over demons, demonstrated power over diseases, demonstrated power over death. Let's look at a little bit of that in Mark chapter 4, chapter 5. I read from verse 5. From verse 1, chapter 5, I read from verse 1. And they came over unto other side of the sea, into the country of Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tomb a man with an unclean lips, evil spirit, with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetter broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. But you know what he did? When Jesus Christ, he ran unto the Lord Jesus Christ, verse 7, and cried with a loud voice, and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the highest, of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God, that thou torment me not. And for he said unto him, Come out of him now, thou unclean spirit. And he asked, What is thy name? And he said, My name is Legion, for we are many. Many evil spirits, many demons in that man. And what did he do? He cast that out. He cast the demons out of him, because he had to demonstrate the power over demons, over devils, over the unclean spirits. Look at what happened again. That a man had his son also possessed. He cast that out. He cast that out. Howbeit Jesus suffered him not, but said unto him, Go to thy friends and tell that. Look at another case of a man. And behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. When he saw him, he fell at his feet and besought him greatly, saying, My little daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay thy hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. And then Jesus went and cured her. Remember, look at another woman with the issue of blood. And the woman with the issue of blood has 12 good years. He suffered terribly, and he suffered terribly many things of many physicians. Many doctors had tried this woman, they could not do anything, and has spent all she had and had nothing, was nothing better, but rather grew worse. But when Jesus Christ met this woman with an issue of blood 12 good years, and the woman touched the garment of the Lord Jesus Christ, that was okay, and the woman was healed. What of the daughter? What of this daughter? This another lady that came, the damsel that was dead. Let's look at that. And when she came in, he said unto her, Why makest ye this ado, and weep? The damsel is not dead, but sleeping. But they laughed. You know, the normal human being, they will laugh. And they laughed him to scorn. But when he had put them out, he took the father and the mother of the damsel, and went there and entered into where the damsel was lying. And he took the damsel by the hand and said, Talitha kume, which is being interpreted, Damsel, I said unto you, arise. And that she was 12 years old, and that girl that was 12 years old got up from death, got up from the land of the dead, and got up. He demonstrated his power over sickness, over the dead, over the issue of blood, and over nature. Let's look at the last one, where he demonstrated his power over sickness. No, the man that was born blind. There was a man that was born blind. He healed the man, demonstrating his power, the power of God. Let's look at Colossians. Let's take the last one in Colossians. We have many examples that we can give. Colossians chapter 1, I read from verse 15. I read verse 13. Who has delivered us from the powers of darkness, and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sin, who is the image of the invisible God. The image of the invisible God. He had come in the image of the invisible God. The God that we could not see. The God that we could not see with our eyes. He has come to show us the physical, in the physical realm. In our understanding, so that we could see that God that is invisible, that God that we could not see with our physical naked eyes. He had come to manifest that, and that's why he came. He translated us. He translated us from the kingdom, from the powers, delivered us from the powers of darkness. You know, some people don't know that we have powers of darkness. Everything they see, they model it up. They say, no, this is science, this is technology. They say, no, there is difference between God's power and the power of darkness. And so when he came, he delivered us from the power of darkness, because he is the power of God. And so, look at that. In summary, we see how did he demonstrate to us the power? Because he came, the Lord Jesus Christ, the power of God. He was announced to be the power of God. When he came, he had to demonstrate to us that he is the power of God. How? He demonstrated power over death and the grave. He demonstrated power over nature. He demonstrated power over sickness, over the issue of blood. He demonstrated sickness. He demonstrated power over death. He demonstrated power over demons and devils. He demonstrated power over Satan and demonstrated power over hell, so that we will not fear anything, so that we will not be afraid of anything. And so when he demonstrated this power, he came with the power of God, he demonstrated the power of God, and he went back with it, and he went back in power. He went back in power. He's coming back in power, in the power of God. But before he went back, you know what he did? I love the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Yeshua Hamashiya. You know what he did? Before he went, he left unto us power. He gave us power, so that we not say, oh Lord, you demonstrated that power and you are going with that power. No, he gave unto us that power. Follow us in the next series as we look at delivers to us the power that the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the power of God, gives unto us. He delivers unto us that power before he went back, so that we will exercise that power. Follow us in the next series as we look at how he delivered the power to us.